Captain Munnerlyn, the captain, man,
Yes,
longtime
sir.
Panther legend. What's up with you, man?
What's up, man? I'm good, man. How you been doing? Everything good?
Man, great, man. Even better now, man. I got a legend on the pod, man. I don't know what more to say.
Oh man, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, man.
Wake up in the morning, I'm focused in on what really matters. And these rappers still chatter as if it even matters. Stack money like books, I'm on my next chapter. Cause at the end of the day, what are you really after? 5% of my salary goes to charity. I'm engaged to success. Who'd have known it would marry me?
For sure, man. So I understand now you getting into the space, man. You got the what is it? No Capping with Cap podcast.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. If you see it in the background a little bit,
Yeah.
I started doing it, man. It's something that I love to do, just to, get my insight of being an NFL player, my insight on sports, just the intel of me just being in those locker rooms and things
Yeah.
like that, man. Just to show people that, just give them a little insight of it. That's what I really wanted to do, and I kind of fell in love with it. I was like, yo, man, this pretty cool, and I like
Yeah.
it, man. I like letting people
Yeah.
hear my side of the story and getting it, raw and real.
Yeah. Which is a good side to hear, man. Everybody has opinions, but there is no opinion better than someone that has lived experience. You know what I'm saying? Especially,
Yes, yes.
and it's not like Cap. I mean, look, I hope people don't get you messed up because you was one of them ones, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Oh
not like
yeah.
you coming in on some like hey, I kind of know what I'm talking about. Maybe I played like a year or two. Like, nah, you was legit. So that's a really good perspective, to have is, being in that locker room and being in that situation. So let me ask you this. So I'll ask a broad question first before we get into some of the topics. Like, what's your thought on the state of the Panthers just in general right now?
Um, in the beginning of the year, like after week 3 or 4, if you asked me, I would have been like, "Oh man, we need to just get rid of Bryce. We need to do this. We need to do
Mm-hmm.
that." But as the season went on, and to see those guys go out there and compete with the Philadelphia Eagles, compete with the Kansas City Chiefs,
Mm-hmm.
and see what those guys really put forth on the field, even with a hurt defense, even with no Shaq being out, DB being out, missing some other key pieces, and to see those guys go out there and compete with those guys, and Bryce came on at the end of the year, man, he probably
Mm-hmm.
playing the best ball in the NFL at quarterback. A lot of people are gonna
Ooh.
hate on it and say no, he wasn't.
Ooh.
Bryce took care of the football. If
Mm-hmm.
you look at some of his stats, man, he took care of the football and he made plays. I think he got comfortable. And that offensive line, they did a damn good job of protecting him, man. The
Yeah.
first year was kind of tough on him.
Mm-hmm.
They were sending blitzes all different ways, and the offensive line, we couldn't protect them this first
Yeah.
year. And
Yeah.
I think that kind of rolled over to this year in the beginning of the year with him not playing in the preseason. The lack of preseason time. I was against that. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, he need to be out there with those guys to get those
Mm.
reps. He's not a guy who's going to year 7 or 8.
Right.
He was going to year 2. For him not to play in the preseason, I think that kind of hurt us a little bit. So
Yeah.
what we saw in the beginning of the year, we saw a guy who was still thinking he's still getting those rushes. He's not getting the ball out fast enough, and he still looked a little lost.
Mm-hmm.
Putting Andy Dalton in for a couple of those games, I think he woke up. And I'm the first one to
I agree.
admit I wasn't a Bryce Young. I wasn't a Bryce Young fan. I wasn't at
Oh,
all. He
okay.
got me now.
Well,
He got me now.
that was actually.
I might go get a number 9 jersey now, man.
Hey, let's go. That's what I'm talking about. So look, that's the first. It was actually going to be the second topic, but hey, let's just go ahead to it, man. What changed your mind, bro? Because I saw it. I saw your clip on No Cap where you said like, "Hey, I wasn't really a guy at first. I wasn't a believer." What was the moment, in your opinion, that changed your mind?
I think what changed my mind, man, is going to the game, being a big fan, going to the game, seeing Bryce really make some throws. I went to the Kansas City game, and he threw a 7 cut before the guy even got off the top of his route.
Mm,
He threw it, and it was like perfect. And I was sitting there like, yo, this guy look like he's ready. Then how he just took command of the huddle, how
mm-hmm.
he didn't make mistakes. He gonna being there playing the quarterback position. You're gonna throw an interception here and there. You're gonna fumble here
Yeah.
and there. Things like that happen. That's happened in football. But
Yeah.
seeing how he was commanding the huddle, how he was bouncing back, and how he finished the year, it made me look like, yo, this is our future. I was so quick. I was a fan. The locker room captain had got out of there. I
Mm-hmm.
was a fan now.
Yeah.
So me being a fan, I wanted to win now. I'm like everybody. I want to win now. I
Yeah.
don't want to wait till later. I want to win now.
Yeah.
And I got impatient. I'm like, man, like, I don't know, man. He's just too small, this and that. And look who's saying he's small, me, a small guy. So, so I wasn't really a fan of it. And then just
Mm-hmm.
seeing how he just, like I said, man, how the year just went on, how comfortable he got, how
Mm-hmm.
he started making decisions faster, how he started moving in the pocket instead of him waiting to make the pass downfield. He taking off with his legs. He
Yeah.
doing what he's capable of doing. What he
Yeah.
was doing at Alabama, and we saw that
Yeah.
towards the end of the year. That would really help me change my mind on him, and I think that would help. That helped Bryce out a lot on the field when he just started making decisions faster. Like, listen, I can't wait on the defense. I got to make them count on me,
Yeah.
and that's what I think that really changed with him. His mind frame changed when he started saying, "Hey, man, they gotta guard me. They
Mm-hmm.
gotta figure out what I'm about to do.
Yeah.
Instead of me holding the ball, if I just take off for 3-4 yards, we'll take that.
Yeah.
Offensively, offensively, they want to get a play. They want to get 3 or 4 yards each down. If they
Mm-hmm.
do that, that's a first down, man.
Yeah.
So I think that's what he started to realize, and that was the next part that he really just took the next step in his career. And I'm happy we got him. I'm glad we got him.
That's awesome, man. That's good to hear. You know, it's interesting because you talked about the 7 cut, that he threw. And I remember in the pro day when Smitty was sitting down with him and Mike Garafolo from NFL Network. And he was like, he said, man, listen, the way you threw the comeback, he was like, I can't look, I could lace him up. I ain't going to do nothing. But he said, man, it was a thing of beauty. Like the level of anticipation that you throw with is just like otherworldly. So, yeah, I think this puts us in a really, really good situation. Now, let me ask you this. What would you prefer to see? Would you prefer to see them focus more? And we'll talk about this a little bit later on, but would you like to see them do more building around him, or would you like to see what we already have kind of develop more? Like with Coker, with Leggett, or would you like to see them be aggressive and like maybe in the draft at pick 8, go after someone like I see a lot of mock drafts have us with someone like Ted McMillan from Arizona, or
Yeah.
go out, and I saw you did a video about T. Higgins or Garrett Wilson. Would you like to see
Yeah.
something like that, or would you like to see them just kind of keep it in house and develop the guys we got?
I'm big on developing guys because that's how the organization, that's how you build a
Mm-hmm.
team, by developing your own guys.
Yeah.
But if we have a chance to get somebody to elevate this offense,
Mm-hmm.
go get them.
Yeah.
Go get them. If you look at our offense, you look at the receiver position. Adam Thielen, how many years he got left? That was my
Not
teammate. He
many.
played with me in
Yeah.
Minnesota.
That's crazy, man.
So, and he's
That's
still
crazy.
going.
Yeah.
So it's like, how many years he got left?
Mm-hmm.
So you look at the guys like him. We know we got Leggett and we got Coker, the younger guys, the young
Mm-hmm.
guys in there, but they need a guy, a veteran, because we don't know how long Adam Thielen is going to do that.
That's right.
So if I'm at pick 8, I know everybody want to go defense, 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 which I think we definitely need to go, draft some guys on defense or bring some guys in free
Mm-hmm.
agency. But if we can get a top tier receiver for Bryce to build with Leggett and Coker, and then you keep Alan Thielen in your back pocket, I say get him.
Yeah.
Because how this league going, man, how the NFL is going, offensively, they letting you do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Offensively,
I see where you. Yeah,
and they
I see
always
where you
say,
go with that.
offense sell tickets.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what they do, and that's what the
Yeah.
league like to see. They like to see the scoreboard light up.
Yeah.
That
I
last
agree.
game of the year when we played Atlanta,
Mhm.
everybody loved that game. Everybody loved how we finished and everything. I
Yeah.
guarantee you, if we won that game 7-3, it would have been something totally different.
Well, it's interesting you say that because last year that was the case. If you remember last year in the rain, you know what I'm saying? Like it was a
Yeah.
game-winning drive by Bryce at the very end, but it was just a defensive dogfight. Well, some would argue like offensively, obviously we giving up a ton of sacks. Defensively they going against, who was it? Ritter, Desmond Ritter, or whatever.
Yep.
with
Desmond
Atlanta.
Ritter, yep.
And so, yeah, it kind of ended up that way. But yeah, I agree with you, man. A shootout, that's exactly what. I mean, most NFL fans, like, you want to see stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? The high-flying defense, high-flying offensive plays and, things like that.
Yes.
So, yeah, I get it. Now, to me, as far as this draft situation is concerned, man, like, I'm with you when you say, like, hey, it's either BPA or get somebody for Bryce or whatever like that because, man, we had a draft cap. I'm sure you remember this. 2020, we drafted Derek Brown. We drafted Stanley Thomas Oliver. We drafted
All defense.
Jeremy Chin. Yeah, man, the only guy
All
left on the
defense.
roster, 2 guys, Sam Franklin and Derek. That's it. Out of all them guys.
I remember, man.
Yeah.
I remember that was the year. That was the year that I decided to hang them up, and
Mm-hmm.
I really remember seeing. I said, "Man, they went all defense."
Yeah.
Something that we did in the past, if you remember, when I left and went to Minnesota,
Mm-hmm.
that draft that was after me with James Bradbury,
Yeah.
Darryl Rowley, they did
Mm-hmm.
the same thing.
Yeah.
They did the same thing. We known for that around here to just go all defense in the draft. So you try to build your team on defense because offense sell tickets, defense do win championships.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's like I'm with you, man. I got to get the best player available, man,
Yeah.
just to elevate this offense even more.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree, man. I agree. I got to ask you this question, man, because like, I heard you say, I was watching your interview with Charlotte Vibe, and you talked about, I don't know and if you don't want me to put this out, man, I'll clip this part. But like,
Man, I don't care. Let's go.
Okay,
I'm
word.
an open book.
Word. So you was talking about how the Jimmy Clausen years, man, how Smitty put himself on IR, bro.
I remember it, bro. I remember it.
That
True
was
story.
crazy. That's
True
wild.
story. That's a true story, man. And that's why I see the state of the Panthers was before. And I was talking to some fans about that. I want to be put on IR, and I was blowed about it. We was 2-14 that year, and that's what I was explaining to some of the fans. I was like, listen, man, I've been here before where it looked like, man, we can't see the end of the road. Like it's dark. Like it looks terrible. And we came and drafted a guy named Cam Newton. We had a couple subpar years, 6 and 10, 7 and 9. Then all of a sudden we hit the scene. We win the division at 12 and 4. A couple years later, they make the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I done been in those rooms, man. I done been in that seat before where teams just look, excuse my language, we just look real.
Yeah.
We had checked down Jimmy at quarterback. And Steve Smith, really, D'Angelo Williams, all those guys, they didn't want to be there.
Right.
They're like, listen, I'm dead. This is a true story. I don't care. Steve Smith told the GM, Marty Hearn, he said, listen, if you keep me on here, I'm going to kill him. He said, I'm going to have to choke Jimmy Clausen because he went through him the ball. We used to call him check down Jimmy.
Oh, my God.
It was check down Jimmy. It can be a guy wide open down there. Jimmy was like, oh, nope, run it back.
Goodness.
I done been there before, man.
Yeah.
So I know how it feels to go 2-14
Yeah.
and turn the season around to go to the Super Bowl. And I think that's what Canales and Dan Morgan, that's what they're doing right now, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
They really, it's growing pain. You got to have growing pains. Everybody have. Some teams be fortunate not to. If you look at the Washington Commanders, they just been fortunate.
Yeah.
They struck gold at the quarterback position. Bam, he's their guy. They know they got a quarterback for the future. Now they're in the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
That happens. But some guys, you got to grind. You have to have that grit, and that's what we're doing as an organization. I think Tepper is really giving Dan and Canales the keys and say, hey, don't mess it up. I can't say what he did in the beginning.
Yeah.
I can't say what he was doing in the beginning when he had, Matt Rule, Frank Wright. I can't say what he was doing in the beginning. I think he had a lot of input, but now I can see Tepper doing this. Hey, Dan, Canales, I'm going to let y'all guys do it. Don't mess this up.
Let's speak to that a little bit because you were there. I think you one of your last years in Carolina, you were there when Tepper took over as owner.
Yes.
What's he like
Yes.
around the building?
Oh, man, great guy. Great guy. Sense of humor. He playful. He like to play around. Yeah. He like to play around, man. He's playful. He say jokes and everything. He's a great guy. And the stuff that he get around the city because the Carolina Panthers are not winning, as a fan, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it as a fan. But as a player that's been there before, that know what type of person he is, you'll be like, yo, man, you'll be amazed, man. A great guy, man, willing to talk to you, willing to help you in any way he can. All you got to do is just have a conversation with him. You have a conversation with. He's not an asshole owner. He ain't one of those guys like, yo, I'm a billionaire. Like, I don't have to say nothing to you. Just come in. I'm just collecting this money. Y'all do what y'all want to do. No, he's a guy who's willing to talk to you. You can sit down. He'll come down in the lunchroom and have lunch with you. He'll sit down at the table with you. He's not a guy that feel like I'm untouchable.
Right.
So the stuff that he get in the city about guys, and stuff like that, I'd be like, man, like they just really don't know him.
Right.
As a fan, like I said, as a fan, you want to win football games.
Yeah.
You tired of paying $200 or $300 for those tickets, and we're not winning.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah.
But as a person, man, I'm telling you, if they ever got to know Tepper, they will love him, man. He's a people person. He don't mind talking to anybody, man. He and he is a risk taker. He's a risk
Yeah,
taker. That's how he get most of his money.
that's right.
He's a risk taker.
That's
So
That's fascinating, man. I'm glad that I appreciate you, speaking to the person that you know, because like you said,
yes,
so often, man, like you get the book on somebody based on what, because it can, the narrative can be shaped based on how media perceives you as well.
yep,
Like, for example, I don't know how true this is, and I don't want to be the conspiracy guy, but like let's take the drink situation in Jacksonville, for example. The
yeah,
rumor is, obviously the media is like, man, he threw a drink on a fan or whatever. But like
yeah,
they said it was like, yo, maybe one of the players, like I heard like a theory that it might have been like Marquise Haynes or somebody like that got hurt. And the fan was like jawing about it, like kind of laughing, talking junk or whatever like that. And Ted was like, hold up, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's one of mine, And
he's
like,
speaking up for his players.
exactly. Yeah. Like, I'm like, and if that comes out that that's the actual truth, hey, I'm rolling. I'm rolling, man. I'm like, I mean, I don't think that's how you should handle yourself, obviously, in any
Yeah, nah,
capacity. Right. But at
yeah,
the same time, bro, I mean, yeah, you get it. If somebody would have, I'm sure you would have come off the sideline if somebody hit Cam, like, Cam getting blasted in 2016 by Denver, Brandon Marshall or whoever like that. And I hate the name
yeah,
drop, but I'm just being real. Like, you probably would have came off the sideline like, what's up,
yeah. What's good? Yep, and
Yeah.
that happened before with Cam in Atlanta. They blasted him, bro. Like after
Yeah.
the play, we was so mad. We almost lost it. Coach them trying to hold us back. But when it's one of yours, man, one of your guys,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna feel away. So if
Yeah.
that's the story, hey man, I know how to feel. I've been there before.
Yeah.
Like you said, that's not the way you want to handle it. But at the end of the day, our emotions sometimes get the best of us.
Mm-hmm. Very
And
much.
that at that time, that let you know that he is human. I
Yes.
don't care how much money he got.
Yeah.
He's human.
Yeah.
At that particular time, his emotions got the best of him.
Right.
And at the end of the day, you don't want to see nobody like one of your guys really get hurt and they join. But at the end of the day, we're competitive nature too. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. He still like to compete. Tepper
Exactly.
over there, he still like to compete.
Yeah.
He's competitive. He want to
Yep.
win. You
Rap.
know what I'm saying? So
Hey, look, rap game, trap game ain't that different. You know what I'm saying?
for real,
Hey,
man.
look,
Everybody want to win, dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight up. So with what you just said about him kind of releasing the reins, and there's so much debate going on right now about Avero, whether we should have kept him, whether
Yeah.
we should have not. So I got a multifaceted question. Number one, I want to ask you, I'll start here. So there was a time when Rob Ryan was coaching, and you were in the division at this time, right? Rob Ryan in 2015 coached the worst Saints defense that they had in their history. And you think about how bad the Saints were in like the 80s and 90s, and he coached the worst defense they ever had, and they fired him a year later. This is a 2-time Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator, by the way, and they fired him, right? We just put up the worst statistical defense, or most point scorers, I should say, in NFL history, and we retain Avero. Do you agree with the move?
Yay, I do.
Okay.
It's a yay for me. Only reason why I say that is because we got to look around and see what he was working with. Let's
Agreed.
just be honest.
I do agree with that. Yes.
DB get hurt. That's $100 million man almost
That's it. Yeah.
at the D tackle position.
Most tackles in the league.
Sha-
Yeah. Last year.
Shaq Thompson go down.
hmm
That's a veteran linebacker that's
Yeah.
been in the league for a very long. He's the cornerstone of that defense.
Yeah.
Couple more pieces go down. Now we playing with guys you never heard of, special team guys really
hmm
got to plug in and play defense.
Yeah.
That's kind of tough, man, as a coordinator. That's kind of tough. That's kind of tough to play with guys that's really are special teams guys. We didn't keep this guy in training camp. We go through all this preseason, all these evaluations. We didn't keep some of these guys to be starters on defense.
Right.
We kept some of these guys to be backups and be a key special teams guys.
hmm
So with that being said, a lot of guys got hurt, and that kind of hurt him. That hurt his team. He had to adjust to a different style of play than he probably wasn't used to. So I say we should have kept him, and I'm happy we did because he didn't get a fair shot.
Yeah, and that's been part of my argument, Cap. Like I've been on both sides because I can see how some people, from a fanship perspective, because I'm not in those rooms like you are, right?
Yes.
And this is another part of that question I'll ask you. From a fan perspective, like, Yeah, it's hard to watch a team give up that many points and not make some sort of change. Now, they did fire a bunch of position coaches, which I
Yes.
understand, obviously, that's something that a change that had to be made. But when I think about, like, from a player perspective, do you think, because some people question whether or not effort was given, or maybe you're asking guys to do things that they're not necessarily, like you said, used to doing. Would you say it's more that? Because some people think that it's more preparation and effort. I ain't putting that on no black coach, Cap. I'm sorry, man.
Nah.
Like I ain't doing that, bro. Like so speak to that. Do you think it's more, and I mean, I know, like, look, you got close ties to the team, so I don't want you to say nothing that's going to, like, hurt relationships.
Hey, man, I don't care about that. I'm an open book. I'm the realist.
Okay,
I don't care. They can't do nothing to me.
Yeah, let us have it, man. What you think? You think it's more like preparation and scheme, or you really think it's just like, yo, these just ain't the dudes?
These just ain't the dudes. Ain't got nothing to do with preparation and scheme. It just ain't to do it. If you look at it 2 years ago, who was the best on the team? It was the offense or the defense? Defensive.
That's right.
But did we stay healthy on defense?
Yeah.
Yes.
For the most part, yeah.
We had Shaq. Shaq got hurt, but we had guys like who? Franklin Louvo, who is with the Commanders right now, who was a damn good linebacker.
Yeah.
So we had guys that still was healthy. Dante Jackson that came back from Achilles injury. We had another cornerback, a silent J.C. Horn. We had 2 safeties. So I would say it was the guys who had to plug in.
Yeah.
I can't ask guys, like I said, who is the 52nd man on the roster, who barely makes the team, to go out there and be a star middle linebacker.
Yeah.
We didn't draft him for that. We didn't bring him in for that. I can't tell this guy to be Shaq Thompson.
Yeah.
He ain't him.
Right.
I can't plug a guy in at D tackle and tell him to be Derrick Brown. He's not him.
Right.
So with guys saying that it's the scheme and all that, no, it was the personnel.
Right.
We got hurt. Injuries really hurt us. So like you said, I'm not putting it on him. Like, no, I really think injuries really hurt us.
Yeah.
And that's why Dan them kept him. That's why Canales was okay. They know. They've been in those position meeting rooms. They've been in those personnel meetings saying, like, oh man, we got to put so and so. We got to put so and so at middle linebacker. Gosh, he barely made the cut.
Yeah.
But now he's starting linebacker.
Yeah.
Definitely, man. It's the personnel. It's our personnel. If we stay healthy on defense, it'd be a totally different way.
So, Cap, I'll say this. There are some people, and this is the second part of the question, and this is what I'm going to ask about defensive scheme, because there are some people that will push back. I'm sure when people watch this and watch the live feed of this when it's happening, the premiere, they'll be like, well, what about Jeremy Chin? Because we switched from a 4-3 base to a 3-4 with a Vero, and Chin all but disappeared. So my question with you is, how do you feel about the 3-4 defense, and what do you feel like what those people are saying about Chin was just more, maybe he was coming off of an injury, maybe it was just an off year for him, or how do you feel about the base, and then feel about that situation with Chin?
Well, I'm a 4-3 guy. I've been playing in the 4-3 most of my career. The 3-4, you got to have the personnel for that. You got to have some big. You got to have some big MFers up front to run a 3-4. I'm talking about some big MFers up front to run a 3-4. Because you got to keep those linebackers clean so they can run. They can move. We can't have our linebackers getting touched by these offensive linemen.
Agreed.
Some of those guys are not built for that.
Right.
So if you're going to run a 3-4, you better have some big jokers up front, dog. Yeah. You got to have some big old guys up front. The 4-3, I like the 4-3 because I'm just biased. I just played it in my whole career and I just love it.
Right.
It helps to get more DBs on the field too. With me being a nickel guy,
of course. Yeah.
It really turned to the 4-3 really turned into a 4-2-5.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I kind of love it already, but the Jeremy Chin situation, I think he kind of got exposed a little bit. Not to talk about him, you know, I love him as a person. I used to train with him. I think he kind of got exposed a little bit with his covering skills, and that kind of fell out. That's how he fell out a little bit with the coaching staff. You know, he's good in the box, great in the box, but now we asking you to go guard Travis Kelce.
No.
I don't know if that's not in his wheelhouse. Now we actually you to went.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean to cut you off real quick. I heard a public plea. TD made a public plea on NFL Network for Jeremy to move to linebacker. Something that he did himself at one point.
Something Thomas Davis had to do.
Yeah.
Not to talk about TD, that's my dog. Not
Yeah.
to talk about his covering ability. TD can cover,
Mm-hmm.
but his wheelhouse, to me, the best move he ever could have made was going to linebacker.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
look at it, 15 years later.
Yeah.
He had a 15-year career, made a lot of money, been very successful. Hey, sometimes making that move is not always a bad move. You know, some people don't like that move. They want to make it feel like, oh, man, they changing my position.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a guy, a true testimony of that. I've been an outside corner my whole entire life until I got to the NFL.
Really?
I never played nickel. People always say, oh, he just was a nickel back. If you look at my film from high school, I didn't play nickel. You look at my film at the University of South Carolina, I didn't play nickel.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at my first 2-3 years in the NFL, I never played nickel.
Mm.
People always thought I was a nickel back. Oh, he's just a nickel back. I never played nickel. Coach Ron Rivera get the job. He talked to me about nickel. And I'm sitting there like, man, I had an attitude. I walked out and everything. I was like, man, I want to trade. I'm not a nickel. Me,
Right.
I'm a starting corner.
Right.
I want to play the big dogs out there.
Yeah.
Coach Rivera talked to me, man, had a heart-to-heart with me and told me, listen, you could be the best damn nickel in the NFL. That's why I want to move you to nickel. And I'm sitting there, he's like, you're going to have a long career. You're going to make a lot of money. And I'm sitting there like, man, Coach, I'm a starter, man. He said, a nickel is a starter. And I'm sitting there like, man, I don't see it like that because we've been so brainwashed as athletes like, man, nah. Fast forward, I get to Minnesota, I get paid, and I'm playing 95% of the snaps on defense at nickel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a starter. And I'm sitting there like, man, all that stuff Rivera told me, bro, it came to life.
All came to
I
fruition.
made some money.
Yep.
And I was sitting there like, yo, bro, but I was so stubborn at first because I didn't want to be called just a nickel back.
Right.
No, I'm just not a nickel. Man, you crazy. I'm Captain Munnerlyn. I'm an outside corner.
Mm-hmm.
By Coach Rivera changing my position to nickel back and showing me a little love here and there. Let me play corner, slide in on third down at the nickel. You know, he had to kind of bait me in a little bit to get me there because I still was a little stubborn.
Right.
I'm like, man, nah. So he kind of baited me in, but that helped change my career. They helped me play long as I could, man. And I really appreciate him for that, man. Like, for real, because that really helped me get paid, and it really took my game to the next level. I started learning more. I played along some great guys with Thomas Davis and Luke Kuechly.
Yeah, you did.
It was easy up there.
Yeah.
So they made my job a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
I just funnel everything to them, and they make the plays.
That's fascinating, man. That is a fascinating story. You know why I love that, man? Because what it speaks to, and I think this is part of like the issue that people are having with Carolina, because I'm going to talk about a couple of things that you mentioned. But I'm going to start right there because, that's where you left off. Man, when you talk about how Ron Rivera, like, kind of talked to you, baited you in that cap, like, no disrespect, but, like, he treated you like he treated Luke, who was picked, what, 9th overall, 7th or 9th overall?
Ninth overall.
Cap, you was a 7th-round pick, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, for him to do that is incredible. But it speaks to two things. It speaks to the man that you are, right, and you personally, and the kind of ability that he saw that you had, and his level of trusting you and coaching, knowing what you could be. And he was right, man. Like, you were an integral part.
Yeah.
Cap, we started off 1-3 in 13? You know what I'm saying?
13?
Yeah.
Yep.
Guys like you, man, came in, and I know that y'all were like galvanizing pieces in that locker room that lifted us to a 12-4 season. As a fan, it was one of the toughest feats I'd ever seen happen because you know the statistics, man. When you start off that poor in a season, it ain't too easy to turn it around.
Nah, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over. I'll never forget, man. Even though you say that, man, it's crazy as I think about it, bro, because he really did treat me like I was a #1 draft pick.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I literally walked out of practice, man, when he moved me to nickel.
That's crazy.
And went in the locker room and said, man, I wanted to trade.
Wow.
He came and talked to me like, yo, he had the guys like rally around and talk to me, bro. Like, no. And that's just show you the type of person he is and what he saw in me.
Yeah.
We went 1-3 that year, man. We was playing the Minnesota Vikings. I'll never forget.
Mm-hmm.
Leslie Frazier, who was Coach Rivera, he was his old teammate when they played for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
It was either him or Rivera was gonna get fired.
Mm-hmm.
They were sitting there like, oh, now they can't take it no more. Both teams was 1-3.
Yep.
We ended up winning that game, man, and won like 7-8 in a row.
That's right.
And we turned the season around. We sat in that locker room, man. I'll never forget, man. Ryan Khalil, Jordan Gross, all those guys. They sat in the locker room and they told Coach Rivera, man, we hear it already. They was talking about firing him and everything. It was like, listen, it ain't nothing that he ain't doing. He putting us in position to win. It's on us, guys.
Yeah. Picking up where we left off. So you were talking about the 2013 season and how you guys had pretty much like you started off the 1-3, and then you started to really pick up momentum, and talking about how, you know, I really want to just pick up there, and then I'll start asking the questions more about scheme again. But if you can remember what you were talking about at that point, go ahead and finish your thoughts on that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just the momentum we picked up, man, from, you know, the talk in the locker room. You know, where everybody's just saying, listen, Coach Rivera, you step out, all the coaches step out. You know, they did a damn good job with coaching us.
Yeah.
We just wasn't finishing games.
Right.
We started out 1-3, man, and it just seemed like everything was going back downhill. You know, the year before we finished the season strong, we lose, like we get into November, December, we'll win like 3-4 in a row, and we'll finish the season at 7-9. The year before that, we losing. We win like 3-4 in a row. We go to New Orleans. We go down there, win the last game of the year. Everybody like, whoa, like what is team been?
Yeah.
Which Mr. Richardson was on the cusp of getting rid of Coach Rivera.
Really?
He was on the cusp of getting rid of him. So everybody, all the guys, we rally around and like, listen, it ain't him. It's us. And we just rally around Coach, man. And like the rest was history, man. And if you remember, we fired our GM, man.
Yeah. Yeah, Marty Herney.
We fired Marty. Yeah, we fired him. Marty
Brought
kind of
in,
said,
Gettleman.
I give you some intel. I give you some insight on it, man.
Let's go.
It was either him or Rivera. This is the type of man Marty was. That's the guy who drafted me, and I always love him because he gave me the opportunity to take my game to the next level. Even though it's the 7th round, I wish he would have came and got me a little earlier. But
right.
But it was either him or Rivera. Marty didn't want that. Marty said, let Coach Rivera finish. Just get rid of me. And Mr. Richardson and Marty was like this.
Wow.
Marty said on a grenade for Rivera, man.
Wow.
Marty said on a grenade for Rivera, and the rest was history, man. That's why Rivera, I think, got so much respect for Marty. If you look when he went to, you know, Washington,
brought him up.
Who he brought with him.
Yeah, that's right.
I think they got just so much love for each other, man, because Marty really said on the grenade for Rivera. It was either him or Rivera, man. Marty's like, listen, no, don't do that to Ron. Don't do that to Ron. Let him stay. Let him finish the season. Get rid of me. It's my fault.
That's huge.
And the rest is history for Rivera, man. And I don't think a lot of people know about that, man. But I remember that. I remember having them team meetings, and Rivera was like telling us, the guys, like, you know, that GM of y'all, man, he said on a grenade for me. So let's go finish the season out strong. And that's what we did, like in 2012 and stuff. We finished that season out strong because it wasn't them, man. It was us. We wasn't executing. We didn't know how to win.
Yeah.
You know, I was part of the John Fox era. I had 2 years with Fox.
Yeah. So
I was part of that era where, if you look at it, they always started 0-4 in the preseason. Always. And me being a rookie, I never forget my rookie year. I'm talking to some of the veterans. I'm like, yo, we just went 0-4 in the preseason. Like, we're not looking good. They was like, man, we do this every year. They was like, wait till the season come around. We didn't have the same team to be starting 0-4 in the preseason.
Right. That's
we
right.
needed some company.
Yeah.
That was in 2009. I'll never forget. And we started the season off like 0-4. And it seemed like then we ended up finishing that season 8-8. Then we get the next year they kept Fox, they gave him his job back. Then we had the Jimmy Clausen year 2-14, and then they let him go. But man, I just think it's so important for people to even know that, man, about Coach Rivera, man. Like, man, that guy right there, man, like, it was a guy, man, it was a time, man, that he didn't think he was going to have his job.
That's crazy. That's when they start calling him Riverboat Ryan. He was out there gambling, boy.
and then you fast forward the story in 2015, take him to the Super Bowl.
That's right. Hey, man, let me ask you this. Because I can ask you this. I can't obviously ask Smitty this, but how sick was y'all, man, in 15? Because y'all know y'all. If y'all was on that team, we closed the deal.
Listen, I came to the playoff game when they played Arizona.
Yeah,
I was in the box. I was in Charles Johnson box.
Okay.
He gave me tickets. I'll never forget. He's like, man, come see us play. I'm already mad that we had just lost to Seattle by the missed field goal.
That's right. The doink, yeah.
Yes. So those guys win that game going to the Super Bowl, you know, Cam them doing the dab and all that. And, you know, I go out with them that night, and I'm sitting there like, man, like my guys are really going to the Super Bowl. And Charles Johnson, I'll never forget. I'm talking trash to him. I'm like, man, y'all going to the Super Bowl. I ain't going with y'all. Like this and that. I'm just talking smack with him. Like, listen, bro, y'all still miss me.
Yeah.
I'm talking y'all still with me. And Charles said this to me, and I'll never forget it. And he's like, yeah, we miss you. We miss you, but we still with 15-1 without you. I said, oh.
Oh my gosh. Pain.
He said that to me. It just seemed like a dagger went in my heart. I said, oh. He said, yeah. He said, we definitely miss you. We wish you was on our team. Damn right we do. Shit, why not?
Right.
He said, but Cap, we went 15-1 without you. I said, he right. But I was so happy for those guys, man.
That's dope, man.
Get the opportunity, you know, to play in the Super Bowl, which I wish I had the opportunity. And I felt like, you know, I could have been a difference maker for real because that's the type of person I am.
Oh, no, you definitely would have. Yeah, I believe that with all my heart. You would have, yeah.
Steve Smith in the Super Bowl, playoff Smitty.
Oh, gosh.
Definitely a different maker.
Oh, my gosh. Walk off against the Rams Smitty, yeah.
I know for a fact, Smitty probably thinking in the back of his mind, like, if he would have got back there, being a guy who already played in that game before.
Yeah.
I definitely believe Steve Smith would have been a difference maker.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Definitely would have been a difference maker because playoff Smitty was something different, man.
Yeah.
So I was proud. And guess what? I even went out there, man. I went out there to
Did you really?
San Fran.
Okay.
Yeah, I went out there, man, to support my guys, man.
Yeah.
I went out there to support my guys. And I wanted them to win. I wanted to come back to Charlotte. I stayed in Charlotte still. I wanted to come back to Charlotte and see. No, the city was on fire, man. The city was on fire. So that parade would have been crazy. Oh, and y'all probably would have been seeing me on the side. I would have been on the side too, like, yeah, let's go.
I love that, man. See, you speak to something. So my channel's called One Carolina. And a lot of people are like, why did you call it that? Well, obviously 2 states, 1 team. I'm from Asheville. I live in Greenville, right? And so, but you talk about it, man, like this culture here, the Carolinas, a lot of you guys, like, I think, doesn't Greg still live in Charlotte?
Yep. Man, listen, a lot of us still stay here, man. Luke, me, Greg, Jay Stu, Mike Tober, Charles Johnson, Thomas Davis, the list just go on and on, man.
Right.
Nate Sally from back in the day, like, the list just go on and on, bro. Like, Holly Smith, like, all of us stay here still, bro. We made Charlotte our home, and everybody was like, "Yo, I'm originally from Mobile, Alabama, man."
Yeah, I saw that.
Everybody was like, "Yo, why you don't want to go back home?" You know, don't get me wrong, I love home. I love Mobile, Alabama, but Charlotte is really my home now. You know, I really learned how to grow up here. I met some great people here, and this is where my career really took off. Yeah. And then not to say that, you know, I'm a Gamecock too. It's an hour down the road. So I was a household, I was a household name already.
All right, man. Let me speak to that for a second.
So it's like the city embraced me, man. And then I always tell people, when guys looking for free agency home and, they give them a call, a couple of guys ask about the city. I always say this about Charlotte. I was like, listen, you're going to get a lot of bang for your buck. Yeah. It's like, what you mean? I'll never forget, man, talking to Paul George, the basketball player, and the house that I had at the time. I had a bowling alley in it, had a weight room, had all these other great things in my house. And me and Paul George was talking about it. And he was like, yo, Cap, he was like, how much you paid for it? And I told him. He was like, yo, what? He said, that's all you paid for it? He said, man, in LA, it's been $25 million. I was like, well, PG, I ain't have that much to spend on a house. Right. So you get more bang for your buck, man. Yeah. Like I said, it just embrace you. The cost of living ain't that high. Man, I surprise people a lot with this when I say about the cost of living. Man, I paid so much money in Minnesota staying there than I ever did in Charlotte.
Really?
Just staying in Minnesota. Like just renting their house in Minnesota. Minnesota was high, man. And people don't realize that, man. Charlotte is just perfect situation, especially for athletes, man. You get more bang for your buck.
Yeah, that's huge, man. That's huge. So I want to ask you a question about the scheme again, man. We were talking about that before we kind of, before things got off track. But so you talked about it. You need, there's a quote Bill Belichick, and he was talking about the 2003 Super Bowl, right? Or 03, 04, I should say. And he was talking about how they were talking. The context of it was like he was talking with Pat McAfee about Adam Vinatieri kicking like some really meaningful, field goals to win some games. Like he was talking about the in New England against the Raiders when he kicked that field goal in the snow. But Bill Belichick was like, yo, really the one that was the hardest was the one against Carolina in the Super Bowl. He was like, because, man, they had just some dudes on the defensive line, like Pep, you got Mike Rucker, Chris Jenkins, you know what I'm saying? Yes. Guys like that. Man, Cap, we don't have that, man. No shade on anybody that's on the team right now.
No disrespect to this roster.
Yeah.
That you saying. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
No disrespect to this roster. Man, listen. I don't know if a football team had guys like a football team in this era right now that had guys up front like that.
That's a good point.
Those guys was different, man.
Yeah.
You'll have a guy here and there. You'll have an Aaron Donald. Yeah. You'll have a Von Miller.
Yeah.
Yeah. But those guys were special, man, with Ruck, Pep, Jenkins. Come on, man. Those guys were special, man. The list can keep going. Yeah. Buckner.
Mm-hmm.
So it can keep going. So those guys are special. In the rotation they had, man, it was crazy. So, like I said, you'll find some guys on the defensive line like that now. Yes, you will. But the personnel we got in Carolina, you're just being real. I don't see that. I don't see that.
Do you think that could flip in a season? Like, could it? I feel like it can, but you would have a better perspective than me. And what would you?
I think it can. I think it can. When some guys really come into their own.
Right.
When some guys really get comfortable and it's like, yo, this MFer can't block me, man.
Right.
He can't stop me. When you just have that attitude and they really start flip that switch, that definitely can happen. It definitely happens. And if we stay healthy, that's been the key.
Yeah.
We got to stay healthy up front, man. DB, that was a huge loss. That's a huge loss, bro.
That's 103 tackles out the door.
That's 103 tackles out the door, and that's a $98 million man.
That's right.
Almost 100.
Yeah.
I don't even call him. When I see him, I don't even call him. Everybody be like, yeah, he signed for. I be like, I call him $100 million. I'm like, that's a $100 million man right there. He always comes show love, speak. He's like, nah, Cap, I only got like 9. So I say, man, you better stop it. It's 100.
Ted DiBiase.
Yeah, bro, you're a $100 million man, man.
Yeah,
so
I'm trying to tell you.
When you missing a guy like that, man, like just think about some of these great teams, man. Like, you think about like the Rams. If they didn't have up front, if they didn't have Donald up front, how would they look?
Completely different. Yeah.
That's a difference maker.
Yeah.
If you look like some teams like with the quarterback position, they didn't have Tom Brady on the New England Patriots.
Right.
How would they look?
10-6.
Patrick Mahomes, that's not going to something. I hate to see somebody get hurt. Patrick Mahomes go down. Kansas City don't win the Super Bowls, bro.
No.
So the key is we have to stay healthy.
Yes.
And then when we don't stay healthy, we got to have the guys, the backup has that next man up mentality instead of the team that they built this year, no shade on them. I don't think we had the next man up mentality because we had to spend so much money on our offensive line to protect our franchise quarterback.
Right.
So we couldn't go out there and sign a key free agency to be a backup. We couldn't get a free agency linebacker, a 2-year, $8 million deal, which is a good damn good deal.
Yeah.
We couldn't do that. We had to sign some linebackers for league minimum. Or one year, 1 year deal for $1 million, 1 year deal for $2 million. We couldn't go get a $4 or $5 million linebacker because up front we had to protect Bryce.
Right.
We had to get Hunt. We had to get all these other guys in some pieces on offense to protect them. So now this year, I think it'll be a whole lot better. I think they're gonna go in with their personnel. They're gonna know. Listen, we got to prepare if Derrick Brown don't come back the same.
Yeah.
We got to prepare.
That's a good point.
If we don't sign Shaq Thompson for a long-term deal.
Yeah.
Now we know. They didn't go into that season thinking that, man. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. They did not go into that season thinking that. The only thing they was, let's protect Bryce.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. If you look at the receiver position, we didn't make a splash. We already had Adam Thielen. We didn't make a splash for Bryce. We went and got Leggett. Still a rookie. Still got to grow up a lot.
Yeah.
Still got to come and make some big-time plays in crucial situations. He's a South Carolina guy, so I got to be on him hard.
Yeah.
So I think they'll do a better job this year, really putting the roster together for sure.
I got a question. It's interesting you mentioned that. You talked about how, like, I know in the locker room, you mentioned, let's go back to the situation when you talked about Smitty and the whole deal with Jimmy Clausen and the IR situation, right?
Yeah.
And I know that some players handle things differently, but you as a player, and we talk about Xavier Leggett, the production is there. Like he's gonna be. I think he's gonna be a really, really, really good player in this league.
Me too. Me too.
Does any of the stuff that you're seeing when you talked about learning how to be a pro, does any of the stuff that you're seeing, like with the, you know, the accent and, you know, because one of the things that I argue with one of my partners, man, is I was like, I don't want to see him being made a caricature of. Like that's the only thing you know him for. You know what I'm saying? And not necessarily the production. Do you think they feel in the locker room like, man, kind of wish some of that would tone down a bit? Or do you think they just like, whatever, just let him be him?
You got some guys saying they wish you just let it go, let it tone down a little bit. But some guys just like, man, I don't care. I'm here to do a job. Let him be him.
Yeah.
You know, you have those guys. If me personally was in that locker room, if I'm him, I probably have a conversation with him like, bro, you don't get tired of that? Like, you don't get tired of being just made up? Like, they know you because your accent.
Yeah.
You know how country you are. Make them know you because what you do on the field.
Yeah.
Let's go out there and outwork everybody. Let's go out there and show everybody what we're capable of. You know, so me personally, if I could have that conversation with him, I would have that type of conversation with him. Like, bro, forget the accent and all that. They'll go out the window. If you're not producing, they're going to get rid of you. They don't care how country you is.
That's right.
I'm being real.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I knew it was real. I knew it was real when we got rid of Steve Smith. And I'm like, yo, bro, it's Smitty. Guess why I said, oh, yeah, I'm next. They're going to go and let me walk too. Steve Smith was a guy.
Yeah.
If you mention the Carolina Panthers, Steve Smith he definitely gonna come to your mind.
All right.
So when I seen that, that's when I knew. That's when I knew the league don't love nobody for real if you're not producing.
Right.
Not to say Smitty wasn't producing. Smitty still had a lot of football left in him.
He did.
But everybody time does come.
Yeah.
So if I'm talking to Leggett right now, I'll tell him like, listen, bro, like that's all piece of screen. The honeymoon stage is over, dog.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody know you country, this and that. They gonna mark you this and that. That's over. It's time to produce.
Yeah.
It's time to put up and shut up. Forget that accent. Forget all this country eating coon and all that. I don't care about that. It's time to produce.
Right.
It's time to when Bryce throwing that ball to you in crucial situation, we need to make those plays. You was a first-round pick. We traded up to get you.
Yeah.
We could have let you fall in the second round.
Yeah.
So we didn't have to play that big 50th option if they pick it up.
That's right.
But they chose to switch spots with Buffalo to get you.
Yeah. Which I'm glad we did.
Yeah, yes, but it got to be a put up and shut up. He got to produce though, bro. He got to produce. Like I said, man, all the country stuff, nobody cares about that if you ain't making no plays.
That's right.
Guess what, bro? You'll be gone tomorrow if you don't produce, man.
Yeah.
The NFL really does stand for not for long, bro. For real.
That's right.
If you produce, they will get rid of you, man.
Yeah.
I got drafted with some guys way before me. My draft class, no diss on Marty Herner. Like I said, he gave me the opportunity. But if you look at my draft class, I was the last one standing.
That's right.
2009 draft. When you're done talking to me, look it up. You'll be like, damn, Cap was right. In my whole entire draft class, bro, the 7th round pick, and Marty always make jokes with me about this. He was like, when I end up being who I was, he was like, you're the reason why I kept my job. He said, I fucked up that draft. He always say that. And I'm the only reason why he say, man, the last pick in that draft class, the only reason why I kept my job.
Yeah.
He always say that.
It's interesting, Cap, you say that because like the book on him is that he can't find guys. Like the first round guys, he nailed. You know what I'm saying? And then the guys after that is kind of like more problematic. But like, nah, you proof of that. You proof of that concept not being true.
Yeah, I really think I was one of his first ones in late round. Then he a couple years later got a guy, Greg Hardy.
Yep.
Then
Josh
like that.
Norman.
So,
yeah.
Josh Norman. So he started to see it, but man, you gotta produce, bro. You gotta produce, man. Like I said, if I'm talking to Leggett, man, I'll tell him, bro, you gotta produce. That honeymoon stage is over now. First round pick, everybody know who you are now. Your country accent.
Yeah.
But produce, dog. You got to. If you're not, like I said, they'll get you out of here, bro.
That's right. So you mentioned something, and just to put a cap on that conversation that we just had there, man, if he catches that ball in Philly, all that other stuff that he does, man, he a superstar. If they go in there and beat Philly like that, oh my goodness. So it's still out there.
You think he got all these followers on Instagram?
Yeah.
Catch that ball.
Yeah.
He's a superstar.
Yeah. Out of here. Out of here. Yeah.
Kansas City, you make them big time catches like that. You do what some of these guys came in, they rookie year and did.
Yeah.
Did Jamar Chase, did Justin Jefferson's, the neighbor's kid in New York.
Neighbors, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Man, you out of here, bro.
Out of here, bro.
Now you a household name in the NFL. Not everybody gonna be saying, "Oh, that's just that country kid. That's just that country guy." Nah, they gonna be like, "That boy right there, he's a baller."
Yeah.
You see what he did here?
Yeah.
I want that. Forget knowing me by my accent. I want you to know me as my play on the field.
Right.
That's why I love playing. Listen, I think I have my best games, man, for real. I think I have my best football games on the road. Everybody like, why you play so good on the road? I want they fans when I leave this stadium, they gonna know who Munnerlyn is.
Yeah, straight up.
I always had that mind frame.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when I leave this stadium, they gonna know who Captain Munnerlyn is. They gonna know who that 41 is when I leave this stadium.
What was your favorite away place to play?
You said what?
I said, what was your favorite away place to play?
Ooh, my favorite away place to play. I would have to say New Orleans. The only reason why, because I'm from Mobile, and it's an hour and a half away, and like my high school coach, all my family come to see me play. And I used to love playing in the Dome. I love playing in New Orleans.
That's what's up.
And they crazy, and they loud, they crazy, and I love just making they man.
Right. Yeah. There'll be a lot of people when they hear this be happy about that because, man, anytime we can smack New Orleans, I'm for it.
Me too. I'm down for that. I can't stand them. You hear me?
Yeah.
I can't stand them.
Yeah, right there with them. Smoke all the time, every time. Yeah, always. But, all right, so I heard you say something on a pod recently, and you talked about how players don't want to tank, right? Like, you cannot go up to any player, and I mean, this kind of, people know this, man. Like, fans may think that because fans are fickle, it's short for fanatic, So, in my opinion, I believe what we did, I know we dropped to the 8th pick or whatever, right? But beating Arizona, beating Atlanta, when we were 7-8-1, the year prior to the 15 run, right? You were on that team still, right? Were you on the 7-8-1 team?
I left right after the 2013 season. We won the division. Gelderman let all us go.
That is right. That's right.
He wanted the big guys. He wanted the hog mollies, whatever he called them.
That's right. That's exactly what he said too. That's crazy.
I'll never get that quote. I'm like, yo, bro, we just coming off a 12-4 season, winning the division, and you let all your free agents go but one. He let all us go, dog. Everybody but one.
Gosh.
He franchise tagged Greg Hardy and didn't pay Greg Hardy. He franchise tagged him.
Right.
Me, Brandon LaFell, Steve Smith, like all the guys on that roster, we all left. LaFell, going to New England, win the Super Bowl.
Win the Super Bowl, that's right. Yep. Made
he let all of us go, man. I'll never forget. And then they had a down year, man. They had a down year. They still won the division.
That's right. 7-8-1. Momentum going into the end of the season. Beat Arizona in the playoff game, lose to Seattle. But coming into that season, you couldn't have told none of those guys like, hey, man, let's get up there for higher draft position. Cap, you got paid, man. You were a 7th-round pick. I don't care where you get paid. It's players everywhere in the draft, right? Mm-hmm. There is nothing like momentum. Do you think, so as far as draft and free agency is concerned, do you think seeing what people saw against Atlanta, seeing Bryce go off, seeing the defense hold them, without scoring some points so that we can make some meaningful drives at the end and overtime to win, do you think that plays well? Because I know you yourself, you said it before, things went sideways, about being on the recruiting trail for some of these, because it's like that in the NFL too, right? Just like it is in college.
For sure.
Do you feel like that helps your cause if you go talk to some of your people and be like, hey, man, you might want to consider Carolina, what they did at the end of the season? Does that help us?
Yes, it helps. It helps a whole lot. You seeing guys going out there compete, and you see guys really care.
Yeah.
Like, some of them guys could have shut it down, man.
Yeah, easy.
If you look at the organization, did they shut a couple guys down? Yeah, they did. Chuba Hubbard, if he could have played, I think he would have played. But they didn't want to take the risk of him getting hurt for next year.
Right.
J.C. Horn, they shut him down.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want to take the risk of getting him hurt for next year. So they did shut a couple guys down. But if I'm a free agent guy, I'm gonna look at how they finished the season,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna ask the coach, like, what do you think y'all are at this point? And if I'm thinking about Carolina, and if I'm Dave Canales and Dan Morgan, guess what I'm thinking? I'm saying, listen, we're in a damn good situation right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
How we finished the season, if you look, we started the season very shaky.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at us now, we got it. We know what we're doing. That's what I sell to free agency. Like, look and see how we finished the season.
Mm-hmm.
Look how well Bryce played. Look at it. Look the numbers he put up. Look how well he took care of the football.
Yes. Huge.
He went. I think it's a crazy stat out there. He went like 100 and something like attempts without throwing an interception. I'm sitting there like, yo, Bryce, a guy that we said couldn't see over the center.
Going into next season, you've got a lot of opportunity for guys to develop. Can you talk about, like, okay, your first season in the league, right? And you started, how many games did you start year one?
Year one, I think I started like 4 or 5.
Okay.
But I played technically the nickel, but Richard Marshall used to slide in to play the nickel, and I came in as the third corner.
Okay. So your development, like, this is one of the things that I'm always interested in, because I feel like this kind of speaks to how you felt about the Avero situation, like going into the next season with everything in place. Like, yeah, some position coaches are gone, but like you got your DC, right? Does your training, like when you're a young guy, like take like someone like Jalen Coker, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't even know if you're going to make the team, right? And not only does he make the team, but he comes out and has this, extremely meaningful season that helps him tremendously in his growth. Is your off-season workout plan, is your off-season training, the kind of things that you do different when you're coming out like in the draft that first year versus like your second year, kind of knowing where you're going to be and that you actually have a spot on the roster?
Yes, you say that, man. It's crazy you say that, because your first year, it's the longest year of your life. You have a rookie wall, because you got to realize you coming from college.
Mm-hmm.
When you done with college, your bowl game, if you play bowl game in January, you going straight to train.
Yeah.
To get ready for the draft. Then after that, it's the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, it's rookie minicamp. Then after that, you get a month off and you got to come back for training camp.
Right.
Then after that, it's the preseason. Then after that, it was a 16-game season for me.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not done to when? January.
Yeah.
You have no time off.
Right.
So that's why we always say guys hit that rookie wall. You hit that rookie wall, man, and it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
My rookie year, normally in college, some guys are done in November.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't have a bowl game, they done in November.
Wow.
So your rookie year, you got to attack it a little different because it's very long. But the second year now, you know what it is. You've been in those locker rooms.
Mm-hmm.
You know how it is to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You know how it is to wake up at 5:30 in the morning to get a lift. Your body is trained now.
Right.
So now you know what it takes to get your body in shape. I remember my second and third year, I used to take like a month off to just give my body a rest. It's like, man, I need a rest. It's a long season. Let me get a rest. And then by the time April come around, I'm getting myself back in shape. I'm trying to get back into the group. I'm trying to get everything rolling. But my rookie year, I didn't know. I think I overdid it because from training, combine, coming back to rookie camp and all those stuff, you get tired, man.
That's a lot, man.
But now those guys, they know how to be. They know what it takes to be a pro.
Mm-hmm.
They know what it takes. Now some of those guys probably taking 2-3 weeks off, getting their body rest, letting it heal. Now it'll be time to hit the ground running soon.
Mm-hmm.
Around March, April-ish, like you'll be ready to roll. So they know what it takes to be a pro. So it definitely, like, that rookie year is your longest year of your life, bro. It's your longest year of your life. I remember being my rookie year, like in November, I'm like, yo, bro, like, we got how many games left? 5.
Right.
Man, what?
And that's not to mention the thing that you left out was just the sheer excitement of the fact that you're playing a sport that, people dream about playing, and you're actually like playing meaningful games in the sport. It's like, man, that has to factor in somewhere as well. Like, man, I'm in the NFL. This is crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I had to pinch myself several times, man.
I'm
and
sure.
I still do that to this day. When
Really?
people are like, oh, Captain, man, how it feel, great career, this, and I'll be like, man, I really made it to the NFL, bro. Like, that's
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's always been
Yeah.
a dream of mine. Like, growing up, I was the kid that they asked in class, what you want to be when you grow up? And I always say, I want to be an NFL football player.
That's awesome, man.
And my dream came true.
Yeah.
So that was a blessing, bro.
Yeah, huge. Yeah, that's a huge blessing. So our last topic, man. What's your outlook for the 2025 season, man? I'll ask it in, I guess, a couple of different questions. Number one, what do you think the record will be? And two, do you think that Bryce becomes the official, like, franchise, which I kind of already think he is, but do you think that he solidifies himself as, like, maybe a top 15 or possibly even top 10 quarterback in the league? So first, what you think the record would be?
I really think we can go 10-7, 11-6.
Okay.
You know, and I think that would win this division.
Yeah.
I think that would win the division. I think what they building over there is something special, you know, and with them signing Chuba Hubbard for a decent deal to help Bryce really solidify that run game and stuff, that take a lot of pressure off that quarterback. Yeah. So I really see us going, 10-7, 11-6, winning the division, and making a playoff run. And to your second question, man, I think Bryce he's a franchise quarterback, bro.
Yeah. And
I think he really can be top 15 in the league, top 10 easily.
Okay.
With the growth he showed us in the middle of the year this year, man, it was tremendous. Now he just got to build on it. Now it's time for Bryce. Guess what? He doing what he need to do. He took care of the football. He made throws when he needed to. He took off and ran. He made a couple cats a little silly when he needed to out the pocket. Now it's time to what? Just keep going out there, leading these guys, producing, and winning games. We don't need him to take a step back. We need him to keep going forward and help everybody grow around him. So if I'm Bryce, I'm getting those receivers that I know coming back. I'm getting them back. I'm taking them to Florida like all these other quarterbacks do. I'll take them around these fields in Charlotte, and we're going to start throwing.
Yeah.
Hey, man, y'all done had y'all a month off. Let's get rolling. We got to get this thing back rolling.
Yeah.
Because I think Bryce, he tasting it. He tasting the success.
Yeah.
And we see Bryce, and I think the kid like that who's tasting success, he won it. I
agree. You know, Cap, one of the things that people say, you know, I've heard this narrative about him that he's never really had to work for anything. Like, and I've talked about this on other pods before. Like, Bryce, many people don't know this. Bryce was the first black quarterback in the history of the modern day program at his high school, right? Bryce left.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
He left. Bryce was recruited by USC, had committed to USC, and was all but going to go there. And he goes to Alabama and plays for, well, he was recruited by Steve Sarkisian, right? Steve Sarkisian goes to Saban and Bill O'Brien like, hey, man, I think I found Steph Curry in cleats. Like, this kid is unbelievable, right? And so he ends up going to Alabama, a place that's like half the world away, you know what I'm saying, across the country, and plays in a system that most people, what's the book on most Bama quarterbacks? They ain't no good in the league. Exactly.
They don't look good in the league.
That's right.
That's why that was my knock on them. You know, if you looked at my podcast, I always said that.
That's right.
Alabama
you did
quarterbacks
say that.
are not good in the league.
Right.
They're not. You know why? Because they have all these 4 and 5 stars guys around them.
That's right.
Make them look good.
Yeah.
So you're 100% right. I'm with you.
Yeah. So I think that, like you said, the maturation process is huge. Now, I will say this. You do have to blow some caution to the wind, right? Because we are a team, and I know some fans, like, there's probably going to be some people that I know that'll push back on some of this because in their mind they're thinking like, man, this has been 7 long years of mediocrity, right?
Yeah.
And then, I don't know if you remember this, but like, I want to say it was a 2009. This might have been your rookie year. Didn't Matt Moore come in to relieve Delhomme your rookie season? Like,
yes, Matt Moore. Yep.
Yeah, and didn't he win a couple of games? Like, and there was some momentum going into the next season, right? And then it kind of fell off a cliff, and we ended up with Jimmy Clausen in that whole situation. So I can understand how people would be.
We had Matt Moore. We sure did. You're right.
Yeah. So I can see how some people would be.
We thought Matt Moore was going to be our starter going in 2010.
That's right.
He gets hurt.
Yep.
He gets hurt, and Jimmy had to take over.
Yep. That's right. I love hearing this perspective from somebody who's actually been in the building, still in the building, around the players and stuff like that. That's real refreshing to hear, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I really think it's gonna be a whole lot better year than we had last year for sure.
Yeah.
I'm expecting them to make the playoff run. They listen
Wow.
defensively, they get their dogs back.
Mm-hmm.
They get some of the dogs back, man. And just to build on that defense, get some more guys in, bring another corner, whatever you got to do, safety. I think we can do that. And I think in free agency, Carolina would be a hot place to come.
I agree.
I think people will be like, yo, I can. And T. Higgins, I talked about it on my podcast. I think he'll be a great addition. Because if you look at T. Higgins, man, all he do is work. You know, he held out because everybody want to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at his body of work, he don't have no off the field issues. He don't do all the other stuff. All you know about him is work. You know, even though he was second to Jamar Chase, he's still the top tier guy to me.
That's right.
He's still a big body guy, a big target that I think can take a lot of pressure off Bryson. He can help groom Leggett and help groom Coker with the help if Adam Thielen stay. With the help of Adam Thielen,
that's right.
I think we'll be okay.
I do too, man. Well, Cap, man, this has been an absolute pleasure, man. So tell us about your podcast, man. I am definitely going to plug you and JB, man. Pause. But you know what I'm saying? Because I think what y'all doing is super cool, man. And however I can be of assistance as you guys are building, man, if I can be of any assistance, I would love to be.
For sure. We're going to use you now.
Yeah. Mess with me. But tell us about your pod, man, and what we can expect moving forward.
Oh, man, it's the No Capping with Cap, man. It's a podcast, man, from sports to real life situation. The knowing stuff, life after football.
Yeah.
You know, even knowing stuff while I was playing, but the life after football. People want to know what you're doing after football and things like that, how hard it can take a toll on you from going to having a schedule to not having that schedule no more. So it's just really plugging guys in to these fans and stuff into real life stuff, man. Real life situation after football. And it's something that we're doing, man. And I'm loving it, man. Like I said, I'm loving it. I think it's another platform to have my voice heard. So I'm loving it, man. I'm loving the No Capping with Cap. Make sure everybody likes and subscribe and follow your boy on Instagram for sure.
Man, you're gonna be a beast in this space, man. You got you tell extremely interesting stories. Like I've been watching y'all since I discovered that you were, in this space, man. So I'm super excited. I'm a fan, gonna continue to be a fan, man. And I'm
Appreciate
so gracious.
it, man.
Yeah, for sure. I'm so grateful that you came through, man. Like this will be one of I hope a couple of more that we do. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. Hey man, anytime you want to tap in, I like how we interact, man. I like some of that talk anyway, man. Anytime you want to tap in, let me know. I'm down, bro. I'm down. Like I said, I ain't hiding, man. I'm an open book, baby. You talking about I don't know, man. Forget that. I'm an open book. Let's talk about it.
That's what's up. We got to do one of these live in person during training camp or something, man. We got to set it up.
Oh yeah, I'm with it, man. I'm with it. Just let me know, bro. Like I said, I'm with you, bro. Like anytime you want to, bro. I'm with you. So hey, thanks for having me, bro. I really appreciate it for sure.
Yes, sir. No doubt, man. It's been another episode of the One Carolina Podcast, y'all. Keep pounding.